Take a look at the DPS of the best possible setups against the Abyssal Sire. Shadow edges out the Fang, and it is by far the best option for the vents. Now look at the setups suggested by the usual suspects. I know, DPS calculations never tell the full story. Any setup has its pros and cons. With Mage, your defense is low, and your spec options are really limited. But I saw this video a while ago, and knew it needed to be explored further. So, I've come up with some tweaks and optimizations, and I'm now confident in saying that camping Shadow is the most efficient and chill Sire method for solo players. Here's the setup I bring, with runes for Shadow Barrage and Blood Barrage in the pouch. It's slightly more efficient to also bring a ward since you don't lose an inventory space, but I don't bother. This method is designed for the Shadow. You can get away with downgrading the rest of the gear as needed, but stick to melee if you don't have a Shadow. It's not important for the method, but I'd recommend an Eldritch staff since it autocasts bonus damage to our barrages and has an amazing spec for long trips. Volatile's good for similar reasons, but again, neither are required. Without them, you can bring a staff or wand for the barrages, maybe consider a Void Waker for the spec, or just ignore these switches completely. If you don't bring a spec weapon, bring a Suffering instead of a Lightbearer. I do a couple tricks to save run energy, which I will explain, but while learning you may want to bring a Stam Pot or use Summer Pies as your food. I will start by explaining the most important parts of the method for each phase, then discuss minor optimizations, and finally finish the video with a full kill. Clickable timestamps and tile markers in the description. This method works for the two Western Sire chambers. You take advantage of the long defensive attack range of the Shadow for an efficient vent phase. The vents have 50 HP and regen health quickly. Watch your XP drops to know when you can move to the next vent. Shadow Barrage Sire from anywhere, then run to this starting tile. Attack the northeast vent once. Even if your attack doesn't kill the vent, immediately follow this path to the southeast vent and attack it. This path avoids losing ticks, and if you click on this starred intermediate tile, you avoid the tentacle hit too. After the killing blow on the second vent, finish the first vent if it's still alive. If it's already dead, or once you kill it, click to this tile and attack the southwest vent. This tile is just barely in range and LOS of the vent. Make sure you're on it before clicking to attack. Once dead, attack the last vent. Using this method, you have enough time for 9 long-range attacks with the Shadow before Sire wakes up. If you attack with the Shadow from here for a 10th attack, Sire will wake up before the projectile hits and will deal greatly reduced damage. Instead, you can Eldritch or Volatile spec for the 10th attack. These specs have less hit delay than a max range Shadow and will deal full damage before Sire wakes. If you didn't bring one of these spec weapons, run up to the vent for the 10th hit, and even the Shadow will hit the vent before Sire wakes. Pray melee and attack Sire. During phase 2, you must attack Sire from within his 2-tile melee radius. This is because he will teleport you next to him and null your attack if you attack him from further away. Keep an anti-poison active just in case, and dodge the miasma pools if he spawns them. Ignore spawns and scions if summoned. Here's a big optimization. At the end of this phase, Sire will walk to the center of the room to begin phase 3. This takes a lot of time, and you can skip most of this downtime if you do the phase 2 lure by pulling him onto these tiles now. The challenge is figuring out how to do this with Shadow without losing ticks. You have to run away to pull him while also only attacking him from within melee range. After some experimentation, I learned something interesting. Sire actually checks for you to be in melee range twice, once when you attack and once on the tick after you attack. If you're within melee range for either of these checks, not necessarily both, then he won't teleport you. Knowing this, here's my Shadow phase 2 lure. It's reasonably stam efficient, avoids doubling back over miasma pools, is really fast, and works every time. Start the kill from the front red tile, which is within Sire's starting melee range. Attack once, then run to the next red tile to the south. Attack, then walk onto the white tile and immediately run back to the next red tile. Attack again and immediately move to the final white tile. Sire is now lured and you didn't lose any time doing it. This works because the white tiles are within Sire's melee range after he moves to approach you. Doing this lure adds over 2 kills per hour and avoids some Sire damage while also not being that hard. Pray ranged, since Sire will no longer attack us directly, and the minions have a higher ranged max hit. If you're low health, you can eat once before your first attack of phase 3 without losing ticks. Back up to these tiles to attack Sire. Attack and move between these 2 tiles to avoid the miasma pools. If you're on Runelight, you can use shift clicks to easily click the tiles without clicking the scions. The reason you want to attack from this far back is because you have just enough time to get an extra attack off as the boss phases into the final phase, meaning it will be shorter. A shorter phase 4 is good news, because it can be hell. As soon as you are teleported, run back to the western blue tile to avoid the explosion and prepare to attack. If you're low health, eat once because this is the phase where we're most likely to take damage. Our strategy is to gather the minions south, then run through Sire so we can safe spot and blood barrage them after the kill for a big heal. To do that, attack once from the first blue tile, then attack once from the second blue tile. After this attack, run to the intermediate starred blue tile, then the north blue tile. You will tank a tentacle hit doing this and should eat while running north if you're below 40 HP. Like in phase 3, you want to be far enough away so that there's time to blood barrage after he dies. If you did the phase 2 lure correctly, Sire should move south 2 tiles after exploding, making this north blue tile perfect. If he did not move 2 tiles further south, then move 2 tiles further north onto the black tile. If you ran through Sire correctly, it's very unlikely for more miasma pools to spawn, so just focus on the XP drops and being ready for the phantom blood barrage. Once you see the XP drop for lethal damage, switch to your magic damage wand or staff and blood barrage the minions. Since they're safe spotted and don't have blocking, you should get a massive heal from this, which negates the extra damage we take by wearing robes during P4. From this position, you're ready to shadow barrage Sire and start killing the vents again for the next kill. Only after killing the vents should you eat or pick up your loot, no matter how juicy it is. Always be hearted. If you have a saturated heart, there's no excuse to not always have your mage boosted. If you get all 10 attacks on the vents, you will 1-down them 90% of the time. But if you get unlucky and your 10th hit wasn't enough to kill the final vent, attack the vent an 11th time from max range and then shadow barrage Sire. The projectile is so slow that your stun will take effect before it hits the vent and it will do full damage. If you kill the final vent with a shadow hit, you can Eldritch spec or blood barrage it and still get the full effect of the prayer restoration or heal. You should try to use a spec every kill. You can save a lot of stamina during phase 1 by control clicking. You can walk instead of run without losing ticks on most of the vent transitions. If you get dragged in when you try to attack the first vent, it's because you're clicking to attack it before the tentacles wake up and the walls are removed. To fix this, just wait a little bit on the first tile before clicking. You won't miss ticks doing this. If you mess up the phase 2 lure and get teleported, Sire won't move for a bit. Stay in melee range for 2 attacks and then try to continue the lure. If there are minions alive during the transition from phase 2 to phase 3, you can blood barrage them for free healing before starting phase 3 without losing ticks. Be prepared for Sire to die when you do your 2 attacks from the southern blue tiles. Actually, finishing the kill from the south side is more efficient than running through them and still gives you just enough leeway to stack the minions, blood barrage them, and shadow barrage Sire's spawn without losing ticks. Try to target scions instead of spawns when blood barraging if possible, especially those in nice stacking positions like this. If you target a spawn that transforms as you cast your barrage, the spell will not go through. If you attack Sire at least twice from the north, most of the 1x1 spawns will mature into 2x2 scions. If this happens, you can move 1 tile west before your blood barrage to create an even larger stack. When you need to bank, kill the vents first, tallying out after the lethal XP drop on the last vent. You have time to resupply and make it back if you don't dawdle too long. This saves time on having to wait for Sire to come down from the throne. Here's a full kill with the method. I tried to pick one that used several of the tactics discussed in the video and had reasonable DPS, so it would be somewhat representative of how your average kill will go. I hope this method motivates you guys to do some Sire tasks. I think of myself as a pet hunter, currently working toward all Slayer pets, but I had Abyssal demons blocked for the longest time because I hated Sire. I hated having to switch a bunch every kill and rely on DPS specs to kill him before he kills me. With this method, I look forward to my Sire tasks for the first time ever, and I've had fun developing this method. A special thanks to MomoFlip, whose video was the reason I unblocked Sire. Best of luck on the unsired drops everyone, and good hunting.